Resident Evil 4.
What's going on, guys? It's Marty here, and in this video I'm going to be doing a game review on Resident Evil 4 on the Nintendo Switch. This is a game that was released back in 2005 on the GameCube and later on the PS2. This game was amazing when it was first released, and now 15 years on, let's see how it goes on the Nintendo Switch. I'm going to break this review down into 4 sections. I'll first have a look at the story, and hopefully not include too many spoilers if anyone out there hasn't played this game, which I'd imagine nearly everyone has played this game as it's amazing. Then I'll look at the gameplay, then the controls, and then I'm going to go over my overall thoughts on the game as a whole. Before we get into the video, make sure you smash the like button. This video has taken me hours of work to make, and to show your appreciation, all I ask is that you make that little thumb-shaped like button turn blue. Lots of you guys aren't actually subscribed to my channel that are watching my videos, so let's change that. Why not subscribe to my channel? You don't have to turn on the bell for notifications, just subscribing is enough for me. For this review, I'm going to be using my own scale, the Snappy Scale. Pretty cool, guys, I know, smash the like button if you agree. This is a scale of 1 to 10. I'm going to give a rating for each section I do, and then at the end I'll give a rating of the overall game itself. On this scale, obviously, 1 being terrible and 10 being an absolute winner. Alright, so with all that out of the way, let's get into the review. The story in Resident Evil 4 is amazing, as you'd expect from any Resident Evil game. And it's one of those stories that I find that just makes you want to keep on playing, even though you've been playing for a while. Even though I finished it when it was first released, when I picked it up on the Switch I was hooked. I spent what felt like probably, I don't know, an hour playing at night, and then all of a sudden I realised it was midnight, and I'd actually been playing for several hours. And that's what I mean by it's that kind of game where the story just gets you hooked, and you just want to keep on going. Without spoiling too much of the story, you play as Leon Scott Kennedy, a survivor of the Raccoon City outbreak where he was a cop. He's now working for the US government, where he's employed to rescue the president's daughter, Ashley Graham, who's been kidnapped by what's essentially a cult. The cult leader, Lord Sadler, a scary man who's actually in control of the villagers using the Las Pelagas parasite. So that's an ancient parasite. And I won't go into too much detail to spoil it if anyone hasn't seen it, but you worked it out as you progress through the game. He also has some really evil plans for Ashley, and that's why he's kidnapped her. Your mission throughout the game is to find Ashley and get her home safely, and there are countless enemies throughout the game who stand in your way of saving Ashley and try and take her off you at times as well. There are little side quests that pop up, which you don't have to do but do benefit you greatly if you do complete them, and there are also a lot of puzzles I've found that keep the game really interesting and add a bit of a challenge in there as well. Overall, to rate the story, because it's entertaining, it keeps you playing and wanting more, I'm going to give it a 9 on the Snappy Scale.
I was wondering if you might recognize a girl in this photograph.
Alright, with the story out of the way, let's now look at the gameplay. The gameplay is great, although I do have a few issues with the controls on the Switch. I think there are some areas they could have made improvements when they did the port, but I guess we'll discuss that a bit later on when we talk about controls. The gameplay is a lot of fun. It allows you to move around through loads of different areas, and even coming back through some of those areas for part of the story, or when you have completed it, you can actually go back yourself just to find some of those items you missed, which I really do like. It's not like one of those games where once you've been there and completed it, you can't go back, so that's really good. There are loads of items to be found and purchased, such as weapons, items to heal yourself, and you can also find items of very high value to sell, which help you afford some of the weapons and upgrades. There's also a merchant that appears in various locations throughout the game, which allows you to purchase, upgrade and sell weapons and items. The ability to do this allows you to play towards different styles and ways you want to play the game. For example, you could use weapons for more up-close combat, you could use more rapid-fire weapons, or you could even try and pick off the enemies before they get close enough to you, so you could use like a rifle or something like that. And I found that really good that you could choose where your upgrades went, although he does limit you to what upgrades you can do at certain points, which does give the game that hardness. It doesn't make it too easy. The variety of weapons in this game is amazing for its age. There are so many weapons, and a lot of different weapons that are good for certain things. If you guys would like me to go through any of these in detail, compare the different types of weapons, etc., just leave a comment below. I'm more than happy to do that. The game allows you to play a short story as Ada Wong, and also has a separate Mercenaries gameplay that's unlockable after completing the main story.
Need a ride, handsome?
You can also play the main story again with several perks after you've completed it for the first time, and this provides you countless hours of more fun, on top of just completing the game. It's not over yet, you can just go again, it's amazing. Something I found interesting about Resident Evil 4 is that its difficulty actually adjusts to meet how you're playing it. So for example, if you're getting hurt a lot, keep dying, that kind of thing, the enemies actually get a bit easier, and the items that you find will also change to suit your needs. The same goes if you're doing really well, it'll actually get a bit harder. Because of the many different ways to play, but taking into account that it is an older game, I give this game an 8 on the Snappy Scale. The controls give you several options to choose from, but the standard controls really aren't that bad, although it doesn't really give you any control customization, which is a bit annoying. The controls are still okay, except I feel an improvement could have been made towards the running. What I mean by that is you're required to hold down the B button and use the left analog stick when you're running. However, I feel this could have been much more of a natural thing to change the B button out and just use the button in the left analog stick and hold it down to enable you to run. It isn't really that big an issue, but it'd be something I would have thought they'd done when they ported it over to the Switch. Unfortunately, because of the annoying running feature, I'm going to be giving controls a 6 on the Snappy Scale. Overall guys, this is an amazing game and I'm glad they brought it to the Nintendo Switch. I really enjoyed playing it and it brought back memories of countless hours of gameplay from when I was younger. And as I mentioned earlier, it was so hard to put down my Switch when I was playing this. Before I give you my overall rating on the Snappy Scale, I'll give you a moment just to turn that little like button blue. Alright guys, thanks for that. The like button's now blue, I am happy, thank you very much. Alright guys, so now let's get to my overall rating on the Snappy Scale for Resident Evil 4 on the Switch, after taking into consideration all the things I mentioned earlier in this video. Alright guys, Resident Evil 4 on the Switch on the Snappy Scale, I'm going to give this an 8. Alright guys, I'm going to be putting up some gameplay, some tips and some other Resident Evil 4 content on the Switch as well, and I'm going to continue doing my normal content. So make sure if you're not subscribed, you definitely subscribe so you don't miss any of that. If you guys have any different opinions or something I missed, make sure you leave a comment below and let me know about it. Thanks for watching, I'll leave you guys with some gameplay of Resident Evil 4 and I'll see you in the next video.
The girl with magnificent power.